It's no secret. ENFJs are most wanted. But why? The short answer is there's not that many of them. So when you're in a crowd and you stand out, there's something unique or different about you that draws people. The second thing is ENFJs have a gift when it comes to people. They understand them, they study them, they feed off of different people's energy. And so when you do that, you become a match for a lot of people because you're feeding off of who they are. They play, you play. They are serious, you're serious. They laugh, you laugh. So they kind of become who they are based on who you are. That doesn't mean that they don't have a self that's carrying them, that's making them unique and stand out, but they have the ability to make people feel incredibly understood. And who doesn't want that? ENFJs are seductive. They're smooth talking persuaders. You're gonna want to stick with me because it's a complex answer to a complex question. ENFJs are most wanted, but can they get what they want? Not just know what they want. If you understand what they want, it'll make it easier for you to give it to them. And if you're an ENFJ, if you're struggling in this area, then it's going to help you to hone in on what you need and what you want to get that relationship that you crave deep down in your soul, that keeps you spinning, that keeps you reeling. The key is understanding. And understanding goes below the surface. It's not what it always appears to be. That's what's going to drive everything. ENFJs do best in natural settings. When they're not trying, they're not aware, you just like them because they're doing their thing. They're being themselves. And there's something about them that exudes a light to you. And then you just come crawling in and you see something special in them. That's when they do their best. They can also do their best when they know exactly what's happening. You're on a dating site, you're trying to find love, or so you say. They're trying to find love, and it's clear, or they enter a relationship with someone who's very clear on what it is that they want. If they're not looking for love and it just sort of happens organically, that's great. The problem comes in when things are murky and ambiguous. That is the enemy of an ENFJ. And I'm going to explain to you exactly what I mean by that in a minute. But first, I want you to think about these two words: arrogance, deep insecurity. Those are polar opposites of each other. But you have to remember, ENFJs are not cookie cutter. They're very complex. So they could be leading with a sense of arrogance and confidence, and yet dwelling deep inside them is deep insecurity. They go down into the insecurity, untangle a few things, then come up with confidence. Then they go back down and there's another area that's triggering them, like, okay, what is this about? What do I do about this? This is a little confusing. So then they go through, they tweak that, they try to find answers, and then they come back up to confidence. Why? Because relationships are central focus to them. It's that important. They want to get it right. They want to make sense of the unsensible. They want to touch what can't be touched. When they can get a handle on what's not making sense or what's not gelling, it can make their life a lot easier, and they can deepen the relationship and make it much richer, much more pleasurable, enjoyable, and that's the key. They don't want to create scrapes and bruises. They don't want to just put a Band-Aid on the bruise. They want to heal it. They want to nurture it. They want to make sure that they're bringing out of you something that you've never discovered before, you've never understood before. They want to create that mental, spiritual experience that only love can bring. They want diamonds. They can be perfectionistic when it comes to a love interest. They want to know what makes you tick, what drives you. They're going in deep. And a lot of times in just a natural everyday settings, people feel like the ENFJ is really into them and really interested. And that's true. But there's another level that happens when they are interested in you. Something is working. This is going like this. This is turning into something very passionate. You're going to get an attention that maybe you've never experienced before, especially if they can have an experience with you because there's something so extraordinarily special about you. They're already naturally curious about the psyche of people. And so you get into their hands, even though they're perfectionistic, they want it to be seamless. They don't want chalk on a chalkboard screeching or that thing that you actually see or robotic. No, they want to pull out what's real, like what can't be explained. ENFJs deal with cookie cutter all day. They know certain people, certain personalities, experiences, all that. They want the cookie cutters to feel like rose petals with lots of layers, and they want to treat them with respect and, oh my gosh, you're amazingly wonderful. They want everyone to feel good about themselves. But when they meet that truffle, and it sounds funny, but when they meet that truffle, because that's what they're looking for, ENFJ mind is going to go to work in overdrive because they're already naturally curious. And so they're going to be like looking at you from angles that you probably don't even know exist in yourself. And it's funny, but it's pretty extraordinary. It's finding it that can be a problem. What I'm about to say might shock you, but an ENFJ might carefully incite an argument with you. That doesn't make any sense because ENFJs don't like conflict. They like harmony. They crave it. They fear conflict. But when they're in a relationship with you, they want to know that you can have conflict and still be okay. The other reason why they might trigger an argument, like take that risk, is because in their gut feeling, they know there's something that needs to be worked through that's not getting worked through. It's not getting worked through with words. It's not getting worked through with hints. And it could be something that just needs to happen to take you guys deeper. Because you know what happens when couples fight, right? When you make up, it's the best feeling and you feel like you've been somewhere, you've done something, you've overcome something. So they want to make sure, ENFJs are driven by intuition. So they may not fully be aware themselves why they feel this urge, like we got to argue, but we're going to do it. ENFJs can feel alone and confused without the one, and they may be driven harder than some other relationships to actually be in a monogamous relationship. I was about to say monotonous relationship. So do they even notice? Notice all the people who are vying for their attention, for their love, that want to be in a relationship with them because they can be very popular in that way. Well, they look back as they're standing on that effervescent green hill flowing with pines and daffodils and bluebonnets as they peer down at all the people clamoring for them. Probably not. All those memories fade like translucent fog, and they forget it is a memory they can call upon to boost their flailing self-esteem as they sink into quicksand at not finding the right person. Loads of love interests means nothing if you're not the one, because all they really want in life is the one. Now, ENFJs are a very wanted type, and they can be oblivious to that. I think women ENFJs could be more oblivious to it than men, because in our society, men are kind of groomed. They're generally the ones that chase or that go after who they want, or it's just something about that dynamic, that women, oh my gosh, I got all these women, they all like me. And I think women kind of don't think that way. We feel like we're too busy for that, We don't want to spend all of our time entertaining a million different guys. Like, it doesn't feed the ego, but I think the way our society is built, it does feed the man's ego. So he might be more aware of all the women that like him. And ENFJ women will go to sleep on that because it feels great. It feels amazing. It's a blessing. The more attractive either one of them are, the more they're going to experience that clamoring for them. Like people can fall really, really hard for them. At the end of the day, all of that will get old to any ENFJ, male or female, and they'll just want the one. But the problem is most wanted, but do they get who they most want? And that could lead to settling, because the ENFJ heart is always longing for love really, really hard. I think the more attractive they are, the more they might wait on that the one to appear with all the butterflies and I can't see straight and everything is sailing and floating and I'm in euphoria and just the sky is bluer than it's ever been. They'll be more willing to take that risk to wait for that. If they're not, and this is so shallow, if they haven't experienced that as much, they might give in. But at the end of the day, they might all give in and settle. And even when they find euphoria, are they settling in some way? Absolutely, because there is no perfect human. There are going to be problems to solve, but the ENFJ will want to know, is the spider web so tangly that I can't unweave it at all, where I'm in confusion constantly? Is there something that's going to be nagging at me nonstop for the rest of my life? Then that could be a deal breaker. ENFJs can be so wanted that they know what it's like for people to have a natural jealousy of them for seemingly no reason at all. It's like there's a strong admiration for ENFJs, but there's also a lane where people may disdain them or envy them, and this doesn't flatter them. It's like the familiar, unfamiliar thing, because they can never accept that into their spirit, and it's always a bit perplexing and confusing, but it's usually because they are wanted in some way. They know what it's like to be wanted, to be chased, pursued, teased mercilessly in playful ways. Even though they've experienced lots of I love yous and people coming after them romantically, it creates another huge problem, because how do you tell someone there will never be an attraction there without crushing their spirit? If you have any sort of conscience, who could ever get used to that? Especially an ENFJ, because they're always going to put themselves in the shoes of the other person and feel how they feel. So it's like breaking their own heart. Nevertheless, they roll up their sleeves to tell the truth or run. Run. Avoid the person as much as they can, especially if they know that it will lead to begging and pleading, manipulation tactics, anguish, reading mixed signals that aren't there. believing what they want to believe, being jaded, even though the ENFJ has let them know there's no chance. That just creates a tension that they don't want to deal with. So they will avoid until they can escape if that's possible. ENFJs don't want their ego stroked if that means that someone suffers because of it. ENFJs flirt without flirting. They have a natural ability to do this without trying. They may unwittingly connect and catch a glimmer in someone else's eyes as if to say, I see you, like you mean something important, or thank you for everything. But it doesn't mean that they want a romantic connection. I know it's so unfair, and they may regret it later and think, why did you do that? Although the ENFJ can be very good at reading people, there's also a lane of innocence. All people are good, and that's not true. There are some people who are bad, and they do not have good intentions at all when it comes to love, and they think that mantra, all is fair in love and war, can absolutely apply, even if it means breaking your heart beyond shattered pieces. So when they meet somebody and the person is doing gameplay moves, it intermingles with the ENFJ's natural gravitation towards figuring the person out. So when it gets tangled with tactics like they're blaming you, sending you mixed signals, playing with your emotions, attacking your appearance, those are red flags. And as much as ENFJs yearn and long for love, they can also get tripped up by people who do these kinds of things. Being most wanted doesn't mean invincible. ENFJs are human, and they can get their feelings hurt when there's someone they like who either doesn't like them back, or the ENFJ perceives they're going to be part of the person's harem. And ENFJs can be attracted to Mr. or Mrs. Wrong because they're on the rebound, trying to cover the black hole of emptiness, cracking them up inside like desert soil. They know it isn't right, but they proceed anyway, rendering aid to an open wound. When the timing is wrong, they find themselves attached to boring or elusive or a dog, but in the end, it fizzles. They're equipped with a strong yearning love that becomes more disappointed over time. They dream of finding the one, but terror ensues because they haven't had much experience with falling deep in love. They love hard, so if it doesn't work, how will I pick up the pieces? ENFJs are natural validators. They see the good in a person, so gameplay goes against everything that they really believe in when it comes to something as pure and beautiful as love. The mystery of love. If connecting to an ENFJ is someone that you yearn or long for, the key for an ENFJ is, will I like the self that is elicited forward when I'm with said person? Would I be happy living with this self for a lifetime? Says the chameleon ENFJ. So yes, this video is going to help you to some extent with figuring out love. But if you need more help, you have to check out my book, Flip the Script on Love by Tamara Hunter Zyon. It's on Amazon. And I'm going to walk you through a lot of different areas so that you can get the love that you want. And also, if you're intrigued or you are an ENFJ, I'm going to also put the link in the description box for my ENFJ videos. So definitely check those out. Thank you guys for hanging with me today. Love you. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye.